It's Wiz. Back with another one. No prep. I do this shit last minute with the prep. Let's get it. I am a grinder. That's still the funniest line in battle rap that I've ever heard. Alongside man, I went through this already in the video. Yeah. I can't even think of it right now. But yeah. No, man, I have to think about it now. Can't just leave it like that. It's the grinder one and then the rooster one. How does it go? Yeah. I came in this game, made noise, woke niggas up early. I am a rooster. You steal and flip shit. You as a booster. That's a cheap way of getting around. Your style is Uber. I did a whole video on this. Well, not a whole video, but then a whole segment of a video on those two lines. But yeah. Unprompted, unprepped video. Mainly because it's been a while since, relatively, it's been a while since I've made a video. It's been a few days. I really shouldn't say a while. And secondly, the power is out, and it's time to head to bed now. The time is 25 to 9. So yeah, I'm just laid up in my bed now. It's pretty dark. I like this darkness. It's cool. I should, maximize it by going in the other room and switching off the light from there, because it's kind of, seeping into my room, or it's kind of shining through into my room. I'll do something about that before I fall asleep. And yeah, dude. So far, so good. I could talk about the funds of Faux Physical a bit more in depth, because that's something that's been on my mind for a little while now. To essentially just sum it up, to really condense it. One of my shareholders, right? He's pretty much going to be able to hold up his end of the weight, or hold up his end of the bargain in increments throughout a couple of months. I'm at a stage where I need, the full capital within this month in order to develop it. So the good news is I have, in theory, I have the funds ready to pull this off. Bad news is it's not going to be, well, if I allow it, if I don't do anything else in addition to it, I'm going to have to wait a little while. Because again, funds are not coming in at the same time. And you can't expect them to, honestly. And this is something I've been trying to teach myself, and I've been trying to come to grips with, is that in business, you're not gonna have all your funds in at the exact same time, or at the time that you want them to be in. You're gonna get, at best, you're gonna get your funds in a very fragmented kind of fashion. So fortunately, my developer doesn't want the full price upfront. I went through this. So yeah, that's a bit accommodative of what I could possibly run into with the shareholder being able to spare funds in an immediate kind of way. Because again, now I'm not sure if I spoke about this, but yeah, I'm talking to friends here. The shareholders are friends and stuff. So the guy I'm referring to, he pretty much left for another city. So that whole moving process has been, on the top of the list, and has been, gouging at his funds. So the fact that he's even doing this at all, bro, I commend him for that. And especially when you consider that he's gone ahead and went to the most expensive city in the country, which I will not mention because every time I talk about it, I just get pissed. That's not the point. The point is that he moved. Even in moving, dude, he's still committed to, I'm not gonna paint this as if it's one-sided. These guys are gonna be reaping their rewards, but as it stands right now, it does kind of look one-sided, because you have to plant a seed before it can grow, and then it'll eventually feed you, right? So shout out to him for that, Brody. And yeah, like I said, I'm not keen on going about things in that manner, going about, funding the full physical thing over the course of even more months, because let's face it, dude, I've kept my people waiting for way too long, and I feel guilty, and I feel bad on a daily basis. So I'm rushing as much as possible, like a healthy kind of rush, not an, not a oh no, not like a terrible kind of rush, I guess. Not the rush that, produces a faulty product at the end of the day, but a rush that makes my intentions clear, that I want to get this done within this certain time period. Usually I'll be like a pushover and let people deliver stuff whenever they need to deliver stuff. But now, even though I understand that I'm on the receiving end of the gratitude, I do kind of have to put my foot down a little bit and be stern maybe about my deadlines, dude. Because time's ticking, bro. It's March. I need to get marching. Yeah, so my plan in generating the funds that I need to develop the thing. Well, my plan to replace the funds that the funds that I would have wanted him to contribute this month. Not that he's no longer contributing, he still is. But like I said, that'll be later down the line. So I plan to replace the vacancy, or to fill his vacancy this month, is to like sell a bunch of my pills and stuff. And this is something that's been on my heart and my mind anyway. So I'm thinking that I go a bit hard with that. And by that I mean, I'm thinking, and this is something I've already done. I'm thinking I should, at least in terms of like reaching out, I'm thinking I should sell the pills to a guy who I've sold to before, on Facebook Marketplace. So I'm thinking I just go ahead and, complete that whole process. Because right now I just reached out to him and he told me that, I'm with my family, dude, because he stays in. No. It doesn't really matter where he stays. I just know this randomly because he spoke about it. He stays in a different city. In fact, the same city that I was speaking about earlier. Again, I don't know how I brought that up. So, but essentially, he told me that, yo, dude, I'm with my family right now, and can I get back to you tomorrow? I said, yeah, dude, that's not a problem. He's like a gentleman, an older gentleman, maybe in his early 30s. His name is James. Yeah. He told me to get back to. He told me that he'll get back to me tomorrow. So I'm looking forward to that text of his. And yeah, I hope it goes through, because what that will mean, I hope that goes through, because what that will mean is that I have the funds pretty much ready to go, or at the very least, I have the funds coming in within this month, because I'm still at the stage where I'm yet to issue dudes the equity. And the only reason that is because I last minute added another equity holder. But then who's been on my mind and my heart since the beginning, really. For some reason, I just decided to pull this last minute move. So I asked him for his particulars. He will be, sending those to me tomorrow. And then tomorrow's Saturday. So I don't think the company company registration service providers are open on Saturday. They might be. And if they are, by the time I receive his particulars, then I'll be, sending my agent or my consultant, whatever, the particulars, and I'll be beginning the process of, just allocating the shares and the equity, which will then, like I said, prompt to dudes to, go ahead and cough up the funds. I do want to make it clear, I've made this clear, but then I want to say it again, that it was my idea to issue the shares first before they cough up the funds, because I kind of want the ball to be in their court, because it clears up some things. I'd rather wait for them than them wait for me, because if they wait for me, they could potentially be scared off. Or warded off, I don't know. Can't wait to get going. I hope you're rooting for me. But I hope by the time you're listening to this, because chances are you're listening to this because I've made a success of myself. So hopefully you listening to this means that I've become a success and I've made something of myself. I'm like pretty tired, so I'm not gonna dwell on that for too long. Yeah. I hope I'm a success by the time you're listening to this. Because why else would you be listening to my videos, especially this one. This one is like pretty random. I imagine like there was like 100 videos before this one and 100 videos after this one, so this one is pretty random. So chances are you're listening very intently and not just on a whim or whatever, because these videos are not entertaining. You're probably listening to this because you really want to get a real kind of sneak peek into the way I thought about things and the way that I just operated mentally. I'll admit these videos are not entertaining. The entries, they're like journal entries, and even then, just very shitty ones. Not very good. Not very, not well structured. They're coherent, yeah, but they're not well structured, or like I said, entertaining or whatever, or worthwhile really. So I salute you for listening and hearing me out. Yeah, the success, the key to success, dude. I'm speaking as if at this point in time I've already attained success, but then I'll attain success because of what I know now. If that makes sense, I'm gonna attain success because of the information that I have right now. I'm just implementing the information that I have. So I don't know. Maybe I should wait until I'm actually successful before I can start speaking on it. But I'm so confident that I know the key to success before I even attain success. So yeah, maybe I'll revise my answer once I've actually attained success. But what I can tell you right now is that the key to success is locking in. You just have to lock in. I dream about that. I daydream about that quite a bit. Just being on a talk show, like a national talk show, and being presented with an opportunity to just address the kids and the youth, dude. And then I just sit there and I go, yeah, just lock in. I'm gonna do that one day. They're gonna call me to either a talk show or some kind of conference or some meeting, dude, for the youth. Maybe at like a school assembly or something. They'll call me, and then they'll ask me, well, what are your words of advice? And then I straight up just say, lock in. And it's gonna matter to you. It's not gonna be a joke when I say it. It's gonna matter because it'll be coming from me, like this very successful dude. So sometimes you don't need new advice. What you need is to hear that advice that you already know from an important person, from a person you respect, from a person who's attained success. Sometimes you don't need valuable information or fresh information. What you need is information you already know, just from someone who's doing the thing that you want to do, because that assures you and it lets you know that what you know is truth, and it ought to have your 100% commitment. It should have your focus, your entire focus. So I'm gonna tell the kids, yo guys, log in. Deadass. But honestly, I feel like a huge part of success is taking other people seriously. Not just self. A lot of people will tell you about how you need to take yourself seriously. A huge part of success is taking others seriously. By that I mean I could have approached the very shareholders that I've approached within the past week or so, week and a half, without establishing my PTY, without actually forming it, without actually going about it in a legal way. I could have approached them from a very under the table fashion with the very information and the very uh business plan that I pitched to them this past week. I could have done that, and that wouldn't have been me taking them seriously. Because why? There's no legitimacy to back what I'm saying. Everything that I'm saying is legit. Like I said, there isn't a problem with the information. The problem is the information coming about in an incorrect way. In this case, it would be me presenting the information without my LLC, without me having the track record that I do have. I showed them everything, dude. I showed them the sales. I showed them the fact that I've got influences of a decent size, decent scale, expressing that they'd be interested in endorsing the pedal for me. I've shown them my skill. I've shown them my motion. I've shown them everything about Full Physical. It's just that it's on a very small scale. So a huge part is taking other people seriously, not just yourself. Yes, you're taking yourself seriously by taking them seriously, but the focus is to take them seriously. Because as soon as someone feels like you're not taking them seriously, they're not going to get involved. My shareholders felt that I was taking them seriously because I scheduled a meeting with them. I scheduled a sit down with them. In some cases, I bought them the drinks. In other cases, they vouched. No, it's vouched the word I'm looking for. They opted to get the drinks, even though I was going to get the drinks for them. I showed them that I was serious. In every case of me meeting up with a shareholder, I walked because I don't have a car. I could have taken a taxi, sure, but then I pitched up. Rain or sunshine, I pitched up. That's my point. And I sat down with them in a manner that I've never sat down with them, or in a way that I've never really sat down with them in. And I pitched my idea, and I gave them the necessary documentation, and I brought an example of the product that I'm trying to produce. They got to feel it, they got to touch it. I insisted that they take home the documentation that shows that I'm legit. That shows that I've got, the PTY going. I've insisted that they hold off of sending me funds before I give them their equity. I'm going up above and beyond for them. And I believe that will work in my favor. And I believe that, they will come through for me. And in coming through for me, they'll be coming through for themselves. Like I said, it comes back to the whole point where I was like, if you take people seriously, it inherently means that you're taking yourself seriously. That's a huge part. That's a huge part of my success at the very least. Because now I can rest comfortably knowing that the development of Cape Coastal Reverberator, or at least the capital of the development, is pretty much sorted. Pretty much sorted. Or because I took others seriously and not just myself. You have to have heart. You have to show them heart and desire. Them being the people that you want to appeal to, whether it be your clients or your customer base or your shareholders or your business partners or whoever, your colleagues, your boss, just whoever, your partner. You have to show them. You have to show them something. You have to show them something, dude. And if you don't have something, you have to show them your heart. You have to show them heart. Because a lot of us are starting from zero to attain one, and then from one we attain two, and then from 2, 4, 8, 16. If you don't have, like in my case, I don't have Cape Coastal Reverberator to show them, but I can show them heart. I can show them the designs of Cape Coastal Reverberator. I can break down my projections. Is that what it's called when you expect to earn a certain amount of whatever? I can show them my projections, realistic projections, based off of the market that I'm in. I can show them the motion that I have, generated. I can show them something. Don't ever feel like you can't show anyone something. You might not have it now, but you have the heart. You have the heart that it takes to have it. And in my mind, dude, I'm a success already. That's why I'm so frustrated during the day. It's because mentally I'm a success, but physically I am in the present. And things still have to unfold, I'm in the future mentally. And not even in the distant future, in the foreseeable future. I'm a month ahead. I'm 2 months ahead mentally. But physically, I'm in the present, which is why it can get a bit frustrating for me. On top of the fact that, I'm kind of sad. I'm kind of sad right now. Because a lot of the time, the ball is in the court of someone else. For example, the ball is in the court of my developer. So I need to sit down. And the act, or like the state of sitting down, just kind of feels like time wasting to me. Which is why I can get a bit frustrated. But I need to be patient. And that's another thing I'll tell the kids, dude. Try your best to be patient. Because I will be honest, a lot of the reason why I lost out, not just on whatever, but funds as well, money as well, that was in my pocket and that was yet to be in my pocket, was because I was impatient. I have a tendency of scaring funds away. So I'd urge these kids to find that very, very, very vague line, at least for me, between being patient and then just waiting and not doing anything. There's a very fine line between being patient, applying patience, and just letting time go by. In the same breath, there's a difference between rushing and the other thing. Rushing to get things done for the sake, like I said earlier in the video, for the sake of putting your foot down, and then rushing for the sake of just putting together a sloppy product. You have to find a fine line between those two. Dude, so yeah, I really have a lot to say to the kids. I really have a lot to say to the kids, dude. I want to guide the kids, bro. I want to guide the kids. Because no one guided me, dude, in terms of my career trajectory. I was told that you just have to do school, just do school, just do school. I'm not an academic, man. I made a video on this. Parents who insist that kids just do school, just do school. By the way, that's my mom. Not my dad, because he passed away. And yeah, I feel like in the event of seeing that I'm not an academic, he would have, tried to assist me otherwise. But I never got the chance because he passed away when I was 14. Parents who constantly tell their kids that, that they need to focus on their studies, and that they need to focus on school. Don't quit school. Stay in school. Parents who do that don't really take into account that not all of us are academics. Like I said, parents who do that are essentially asking of the in many cases, and this is not an insult because I'm an average student or an average, person. They're asking of their average children, like academically speaking, at least, to not only compete with the academically inclined kids, but to outdo them somehow. Because when an economy where the cream of the crop are struggling to find employment, the cream of the crop of the academics are struggling, doctors are not getting employed. Dude, I want to give the whole unemployment thing a flippin' handshake. I want to give the whole the state of unemployment, the terrible state of unemployment, and the rhetoric around how bad unemployment is in my country, a huge round of applause, because that was another kind of wake up call for me to just pursue entrepreneurship. And I don't even want to use that word entrepreneurship because it intimidates a lot of people. It just helped me pursue making my or just doing my own thing. It helped me. A lot of things were causing me to head in this direction. Mainly the fact that I wasn't an academic. Mainly the fact that I can't really follow orders very well. I'm incompetent, so obviously that wouldn't fare well in an environment, a work, a field of work. The fact that I don't really care to work underneath anyone else, or to do mundane tasks for money. There's a couple of things that worked in conjunction with one another to lead me to this point where I established full physical. And the state of the economy was a huge one. Maybe not as big as like the other points combined, but it was huge. Because that meant that I had to do it now. I had to do it. I'm not going to compete with these kids. I can't do what they do. I can't. Even if I wanted to. Not only do I not want to do that, but I can't. Not only can I not do that, but I don't want to do that. Same goes for the average student, man. We're not all meant to be, doctors. We're not all meant to be electricians or plumbers. Shout out to all these people, they're needed. In fact, one day when I'm on, I'd like to, assist students who pursue these very difficult careers. I want to assist them with funding, maybe, and that sort of thing. My dad did that kind of thing. He'd help out students who needed like bursaries and stuff. He did that. He'd go ahead and give them bursaries. I don't know the inner workings of that, but that's something he did, man. And that's something I'd like to take a step further. I'd like to fund, kids' studies. Predominantly the studies that I felt were too difficult for me, just so that I can make up for that imbalance. Because I went ahead and I chose a career that was quote unquote easy, even though it is hard. It's just not hard in the sense that you have to sit by a desk the whole day and study and just learn stuff. But it is hard in its own right. But it's creative. Just because it's creative, people want to slag it off and brush it off as if it's not difficult. It's difficult, but then I wouldn't liken it to being a doctor or being an electrician or whatever. So yeah, that'll be my way of trying to make up for the imbalance. Because I wasn't smart enough to do that. So hopefully, I'd love to fund a kid who is smart enough to do that and who might just not have the funds to do it, to go and study that sort of thing and then eventually become that, or work in that profession or become that professional. Yeah, I've got big dreams, dude. Big dreams. And they're coming together. They're coming together. They're coming together for sure. So yeah, tomorrow Saturday, might not be able to speak to my agent because the weekend. I might only be able to do that on Monday, but by Monday I'll definitely have last last friends particulars just so that I can sign them up. And yeah, they're not like an active, capital contributor. I'm literally just signing them up because they're one of my friends from really. I wanted to be friends with them since primary school, but I only made that happen in high school. And I phrase it like that because they were a grade above me. So obviously if I want to hang with the cool kids who are a grade above me, I have to go out of my way to make that happen. And yeah, they accommodated me and they were nice about it. We went on to be friends even after high school, even after tertiary and whatnot, up until this point in our I'm in my early 20s. They're like 24 now, so mid 20s maybe. So Yeah, and even then, I won't be giving him like a huge chunk of the equity. I told him right out the gate that it's mostly a sentimental thing, dude. So I'll pretty much just give him like the smallest amount possible, just so that he's in there from a sentimental standpoint. Because yeah, like I said, I'm reserving a lot of the equity for dudes who are willing to purchase it. Though I did make it clear that I'm not interested in selling him equity, because yeah, that's not something I'm looking to do with him in particular. Yeah, man, we're legit. We're legit this time around. We're legit, dude. The dreams are only getting bigger and bigger, you know, so we need to keep up. So, is the Wi-Fi on, perhaps? No, the Wi-Fi isn't on. But what I'll do at this point is I'll pretty much just end the video now, and I'll head to sleep. Yeah, I'm just gonna go switch off that light, come back in here, lay my head on the pillow, and yeah, thank God that I had this day to begin with, and pray that I have another one tomorrow. You know, tomorrow's not guaranteed, dude. We have so many plans. Tomorrow's not guaranteed, so we only ask for God's grace and His mercy upon our lives, you know, and His continued favor in our day to day lives, you know. So yeah, thanks so much for listening. I hope you manage to attain your dreams as well. Yeah, because this life is too short to not. You know, so thanks for listening. I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye.